Heather Ryan. I am just about to go into a meeting with my board of directors for the Paducah Film Society. Time is 5:46 p.m. on Friday, January 18th, 2008.
Do you give your consent for this recording? Do you give your consent?
I give my consent for this recording. We're in the state of Kentucky, in the city of Paducah.
Okay, here's why we're here tonight. A couple nights ago, Heather called me up and said that she had a contact with the United States Senator, Mitch McConnell, and told me about it. And next day I get a phone call from the River Heritage Museum and asked for me and Jason to go up and get a report on the incident. So before we did that, we figured that's what it was. So I had Heather tell Jason, and that's why we're having this meeting. This kind of event can get blown out of proportion. Quotes can be taken out of context. Parts of stories can be dropped. People could write articles that weren't even there. And as we sat at the table listening, it was like, I must have counted in my head 5 different perspectives or points of view. So in fairness to Heather, I wanted her to tell us what happened and why she did it, and then also, based on our discussion that we had over dinner a couple nights ago, I wanted to let you know that we had to make it really clear that any public politicking we couldn't do, because we're who we are. We have to be apolitical, and no matter who's in office, we have to go for those grants. And as I said to you, we can't tell you how to live your political life. We have to find the medium, and hopefully with your marketing and organization skills, you could continue to be extremely effective as the brains and trust of behind the scenes. That's where we are. So I wanted to get the board together for you to talk to them, talk to us about this event.
Well, I'm a little confused about still where we are.
Okay.
Because I was not aware. I wasn't included in any of these meetings.
That's why
I don't know any of these people. Right. I don't know where their perspective came from. They've obviously not talked to me.
And see, that's why I thought it would be fair for us and the board.
But I'm interested to know who these people are. I mean, I don't even know them. I don't even know who is included in them.
Well, the meeting was myself, Jason, Julie, Betty, the part-time work with the place, Glenn Anderson.
Could you use last name? Sorry.
Sure. I don't know Betty. I don't know Betty's last name. She's a part-time employee.
Part-time. All right. Okay.
Julie Harris.
Okay.
Is the executive director for River Heritage Museum. Glenn Anderson is the chairman of the board of River Heritage Museum.
Okay.
And Ken Wheeler is a
past. He's immediate past president, and he's kind of their point man.
And for their grants, and they're in the throes of doing a $35 million build out. So that's Ken Wheeler for me. And so then that's what happened.
Okay. So, all right. Just so you know, who's the last name of these folks.
And so the meeting happened when that meeting?
Wednesday afternoon.
And how was that meeting thought about, or just?
Okay, but can I, in the interest of getting a timeline, the incident happened when?
Tuesday evening.
Tuesday evening. We'll get to that. I just want to get a sense. Okay, Tuesday evening, evening 6, evening 8.
5:30.
Okay. 5:30 is the incident. Okay. Okay, then the first is after that. The first.
She called me.
Okay.
Right after that.
Called right after the incident.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Just give me a second. Home or whatever.
Yeah, shortly thereafter.
Okay. And then go on from there.
And then the next day, I got a call from Julie Harris.
Okay.
Who's the executive director of the River Heritage Museum.
This is okay. So we've gone from Tuesday to Wednesday. And Julie Harris, I know who that is. Her daughter is one of William's friends, so. Okay, called you. Okay, about this incident.
Said she'd like Jason and I to come to a meeting about it, but she didn't say what it was. She just said about an incident. So
she didn't identify that Heather was involved in this incident or anything like that. It's an incident. Okay.
I want to talk about it.
All right.
luckily you called me, so I had some, preparation for that, and when she mentioned his name, so I said, all right, good, let's, have you tell, instead of, again, my concern, as I'll probably say this a dozen times tonight, is I don't want you to hear, the board to hear, second-hand, third-hand writings or that. At the end of the day, it all sort of comes around you, so I want to make sure you told. So then we had this meeting.
Okay, so that was Jason, Jay, Julie.
Jason, Jay,
Glenn Anderson.
Julie, Glenn Anderson.
And Glenn Anderson's with whom?
He's the chairman of the board of River Heritage Museum.
I think he's the president of Paducah Water in his...
And he's also the president of the
board
board
capacity, but...
Okay.
And Ken Wheeler, I don't know what he does. He's in the riverboat industry, but I think
he's the chairman of the board of the Foundation for Paducah Community College.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he is a friend of many of the politicians and movers and shakers in Paducah and Washington. Mr. Wheeler talked to the senator's staff, chief of staff in Washington, and chief of staff here in Louisville, and what they were thinking was an employee from the building was doing this, and that concerned them because they have a connection to the building.
Concerned who, Wheeler or the chief of staff?
Concerned the chief of staff that someone would feel so negatively towards the senator coming from this building. That's what surprised me.
Well, I'm confused about their concern. Are they concerned because they thought it was a threat? Or are they concerned because...
It was the way it was told to me is they were shocked at the hatred that they felt coming from your daughter.
He's a political figure. He's a public figure. Honestly, I'm confused about why a senator has such thin skin that he would call to action a concern, quote unquote. I'm confused about what the concern is, and I'm confused about why this is all of a sudden a hot topic. I've been politically active the entire time I've worked for the Paducah Film Society. I'm the president of the Democratic Women's Club. I'm in the DEC. I've protested the war many times. I mean, I work for 2 political campaigns right now. So this obviously has never affected my position before. My resume is chock full of my political activities. All of my fundraising activities come from my political contacts. That's what I've done. I've done political fundraisers, nonprofit fundraisers. My entire resume is based on my political life. So now all of a sudden, I don't understand. I mean, the senator gets angry at my child, and all of a sudden I'm being questioned. This is how Senator McConnell works. He really tries to duck out of sight and avoid cameras and avoid people that don't agree with him, has been my experience. So we weren't going to be avoided. And he eventually came out the front door. We had about 3 seconds from him going from the front door to him getting in the door of his car. And I asked him, I was the whole time off work. It was after hours. I was in the alley. I was outside of the theater. And there was nobody else. I didn't call out a protest or anything like that. I had my video camera, and Heaven was going to ask him about the war in Iraq. He obviously was not having any of that, so I voiced up. I said, I'd like to talk to you about the war in Iraq. And Heaven is very passionate. She's a very vocal child. So she yelled at him, do you want my dad to die? Or something to that nature. And I think that's probably where a lot of this is coming from. It apparently made him very angry. And he just literally got in his car, and his security guard was all over me. He was a hand in the face, like a huge burly guy.
Well, we found out later on that it made him angry.
Yes.
The next night at dinner.
Yes.
He got in the car, drove off, hand over his face.
Yeah, totally ignored me. Did the whole paparazzi thing.